and welcome to episode 6 of the Women Crush Wednesday 1Source series. I am Tiffany Presney, founder of 1Source Management Consulting LLC, and we are the home of Peaceful Project Management. Today, I'm talking to Goodness Ndulue, an up-and-comer who is already showcasing her leadership skills. Professionally, Goodness is a business administrator extraordinaire. She leads a good portion of the 1Source business initiatives, including our recent social media campaigns. Goodness is also a member of the American Society of Administrative Professionals and leader in her cohort for PACE certification. This is a rigorous program, and what really caught my eye is how encouraging she is to other participants. Personally, Goodness is balancing a growing career with being a wife and mom in Lagos, Nigeria. I have worked with Goodness for almost a year now, and I am consistently impressed with how she handles herself and leads others. And I'm really glad to have you as a fresh, young voice for the Women Crush Wednesday series. So hello and welcome, Goodness. Hey!
Thank you so much, ma'am, for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
So I will start off and ask you the question that I like to ask everyone, which is the how did you get here? And what was your path like to becoming a remote business administrator?
Okay, so when I completed my degree, I was looking for things to do. First, it's funny because I told my husband, he's a businessman. So I told him I'd like to, work with you, and go to his, run his business with him. And he was like, said, whatever it is, I want you to do that. He's going to support me. So when I was doing my national youth service, that's for people here in Nigeria. So I worked at a place, and it was difficult because I live in Lagos, Nigeria, and anyone that knows Lagos knows how crazy traffic is. So if you have a job that you have to start at 8 or 9, you have to leave your house 4:30 so that you can beat the traffic to be able to get to your destination. That is how crazy it is here in Lagos. So having kids, and it's not possible for me to be able to leave my house and go to work at that time. So I started looking into things that I can do, from the comfort of my home. And that was how my friend introduced me to remote work. I picked it up, did my training, and thank God here I am. And it's been an awesome experience. Yes, one that I am very, very grateful for.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay, so that's question number 2. What advice would you give to somebody else who's looking to start a career in business administration, whether it, especially if it's going to be remote, and you want to be able to work internationally?
Yes, here in Nigeria, to be honest, a lot of people do not understand what this remote work is all about. 2 years ago, I didn't know there was anything like that, honestly. So, and I'm sure that there are women here in Nigeria who want to do something, but the on-site is not working for them. So one thing I would advise is to research. Make your research. There are lots of opportunities out there for you. So you have to be very, very, good at making your research, making inquiries, ask people, and be ready to take up courses. When I started my first training, I had a new baby. When I started my first training, I was pregnant, and when I started my second training, I recently put to bed, and I was, studying even in the middle of the night. I wake up in the middle of the night, and I just because that's when I have time to study. So you must be willing to pay and to pay the sacrifice, for what you want to achieve. So just make sure, just put it at the back of your mind that it's not going to come easy. There are things you need to do, and you must be willing to, okay, some of these trainings are paid for. And being the fact that I'm in Nigeria and some of the courses I took as from the like outside the country, and the exchange rate is crazy. It is super expensive. I'm currently taking a course with Power Skills Assistance, and this course cost me $2,050. That's 1.5 million in our Nigerian currency. That's how expensive some of the that's how expensive some of the courses I've taken. So for this PACE certification, I was just lucky, to get the scholarship, but it actually cost 425 US dollars. Converting it to Nigerian currency, that is a lot of money. So my advice to people out there is be willing to pay the sacrifice, be willing to do whatever it takes to get to where you want to be. And make sure you're someone who loves learning, because you will keep learning, unlearning, and relearning. That's how I put it. So if you cannot do these things, then this is not for you. But if you can, then give it a go.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it sounds like finding a scholarship program is going to be a boon as well, if there is any available at all. Like, I know I took advantage of scholarships when I was younger and in school, and I'm still, looking to take advantage of scholarships for young business owners as well. So I'm glad that you were able to find that.
Yes, I am too.
Absolutely.
Right.
So that gives me to, and actually you kind of touched up on this previously, which is some of the challenges that you run into as an international remote worker, as somebody who is career building, as a parent, and everything else. And I was going to say, was there anything that you bumped into that truly surprised you?
Okay, so I had a lot of challenges starting out because I am living in Nigeria, and there's time zone issues. So when I started making my research, I was looking, at countries that have at least the same time zone as myself, looking at United Kingdom, I was looking at some of the European countries and stuff. But it was difficult to get, a remote job from Nigeria, because they want you to be presently in the United Kingdom. So and that was, so I decided to like broaden my my options and look into the United States. And lucky enough, I got my clients, and then I got you. And I appreciate the fact that that you are someone that has given me the opportunity to work. Like, you just trust me with the job, because I'm going to get it done no matter when like, all is that I'm going to get that job done. I trust the fact that you trust me to get the job done, and you're not expecting me, like, to sit at the desk, at this time and this time. It is something that is rare to come by, because I know a lot of my like friends that are also in the field, and some of them work late into the night because of the time zone. Being someone that is married, I mean, if you're single, it's easier for you to do. But being the fact that I'm married and nursing a baby that will wake up at the time, anytime unannounced, there's no routine. Whenever she wakes up, you have to nurse her and stuff like that. So it is something that was challenging, when I started first. And that is why I'm grateful for the gift of you in my life, because you've made that challenge, like, you've solved that challenge for me. But aside the time zone difference, I don't think there is any other challenge, because when it comes to the tools, it's something that I can learn, and I appreciate the fact that my clients, which is you, you are someone who gives me the opportunity to learn. Like, you always asking me, is there something you want, course you want to take? Is there something that I need help with and stuff like that? And learning those tools helps make it easier. It doesn't even feel like, like there is this much distance between us, because I wake up, when I wake up and I see the tags, I go to click up, oh, this is what I have to do. And there is a video to even show me the process. Everything is just there. It makes it so easy for me. I just want to. I don't think I've thanked you for that. So I'm going to use this opportunity to say thank you so much, Miss Tiffany, for making life easier for me. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I was introduced to, like, what they call, like, asynchronous productivity a couple of years ago, and it really helped to change my life, especially in terms of how things get done. When you have a system that you can say, okay, I'm going to do this piece of it, and you do this other piece, and it'll just be waiting for you when you're ready, like when your time comes, so then it can still get done on time without us all having to sit together and do it
Right.
at the exact same time. But it's interesting that you mentioned motherhood and the, definitely the challenges of having little babies, because I have, my kids are 12. I have 12-year-old twins. And I remember when I was, much younger, a new mom, like a brand new mom, and, just coming back into work. And I was working for Maryland Park and Planning at the time. And I remember my head, like the head honcho of the entire agency. Her name was Mary Bradford. And she was kind enough. I bought the babies in one day so everybody could see them and say ooh and all. But she was kind enough to let me use her office to nurse my kids when it was time to, when I needed that break. I had a boss at the time, Kate Stuckey, who was wonderful about giving me the autonomy to do the work that I needed to do. And I got to say, like, even how we work together now is a legacy of some of the things that my previous bosses, who I've really enjoyed working with, have done. And I got to, give the shout out to them for showing me how to do it, because you got to pass that kind of stuff along, at least that's the way I feel
Yeah,
about it. Yeah,
that
spread
is
the
something
wealth.
that you would never, that is something that you would not, at least I'm sure that 80% of the companies in Nigeria would not let you do that. When you go to crash, the schools for children, when you go, you see children as little as 3 months being kept there. You see children as little as 2 months, because the highest leave they can give you is 3 months. So what it means is that once your child is 3 months, you either take the child to a creche or I don't know. It should be a daycare. I don't know what it's called in the United States, but something like that. If
Mm-hmm.
you have maybe your family, maybe your mom or your sister, that can take care of the child for you, that's another advantage. But for those that don't, you have to take that child to a daycare, which to me is something I can't do, because the child is too small, too tender to be taken, to be exposed to that kind of environment. So I think that remote work, I mean, it does it for me. Like, generally, it does it for me. Even though maybe when, if God willing, I move to the United States, I might be able to consider on-site or hybrid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the fact that I'm here in Lagos State, Nigeria, what does it for me? I'm just thankful that our paths crossed. I'm just thankful for that.
Yes. And I gotta say, I'm in the States, and I'm definitely more into remote work than I am into going in. Because as somebody who has gone in to an office and had all kinds of commutes, lengthy commutes, it's like getting those hours back to yourself, to take care of your health, to take care of your mental health, your physical well-being, eat something, prepare yourself for the day rather than being in traffic, has been a godsend, a real blessing for me. And it makes me so much more
Wow.
like productive. It's a better deal all around as far as I'm concerned.
Okay,
Okay.
I think I'll have to take off the on-site.
Look.
I'll have,
Well, I only have one more question, and it's the one that I ask everyone. And it is really because you have so much that you're involved in right now. So, how do you find peace while you juggle your professional duties and and professional responsibilities along with your personal responsibilities?
Okay, so I try not to get overwhelmed. Like, sometimes I notice that even when I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I'm going to set my, like my set my day up, like to have my tasks and allocate times and try to. Sometimes it doesn't work, because even after I use Google Task just to make sure I set up a notification that this is time for this is time for this. Sometimes when a notification comes up, I'm nursing my baby, so it just keeps flashing. So for me, I just try to like take a deep breath and like try to make sure I take it one step at a time. So instead of allocating times and trying to stick to that time, I just make sure I write a list of things I'm going to do for that day and just make sure it gets done before I retire for the night. So that is what I do. I try not to follow this strict routine for now, maybe until my baby gets, to the age where she doesn't need to breastfeed anymore and stuff like that. But for now, I try not to follow a strict schedule so I don't get overwhelmed. And I also try to, like when I'm working and I get, like tired and stuff like that, I don't try to force myself. I could just lie down, play this music. Music is very, like, it's like, how do I put it? It gives me the best relief. When I'm going through a lot, when I'm going through stuff, when I'm feeling overwhelmed and stuff like that, I just go to Boomplay. Here we use Boomplay in Nigeria, and I go through playlists and stuff, and I listen to music, and I just help myself calm down. When I can, I go for a walk, just to cool off my brain and stuff. So that's how I try to, find peace, between this professional life and motherhood. And last week I decided that I was going to give myself a treat, which I haven't done since my life. Like it was my first time, and it felt so good. Like being in that hotel room, there's nobody calling you, mommy, come and do this one, mommy, come and do that one.
Mm-hmm.
That was peace.
So you had your first mom vacation, huh?
Oh yes, that's the best way to put it. It's just I wasn't as long as I wanted it to be, because if I had known that there would be no election, during the weekend, I could have, like made it crossover instead of coming back earlier. That's fine. It's something I'm planning to do soonest. Like I'm going to it's something I'm going to keep doing, because I noticed that I like when I got home, I felt new. Just use that word. I felt relieved. I felt relaxed. So it's something I'm going to try to incorporate into my life. Having getaways, and when my baby is of age, I can just leave her at home and just go out, all by myself and refresh. So that is one thing that.
Oh,
yes, ma'am.
That's so nice. I will tell you, after I would say for me, there's like a 3-day, especially when my kids were like little, there was like a 3-day. If I was away from them for like 3 days, like the first day or two, I'm like, ooh, yeah, so relaxing. And by day 3, I'm like, it's too quiet. It's literally too quiet. Nobody's calling my name. I don't know what to do with myself anymore. So then I was ready to return back to my little ones. But I am so glad that you got that break. I think that every parent needs it, but especially the moms, especially us moms. We need it.
Yeah.
We need it. We need that mental space.
We do.
So, you mentioned something earlier that got me thinking. Are you on your own path towards entrepreneurship?
Sorry, please, can you repeat that?
I said, are you on your own path towards entrepreneurship?
Yeah, it's something that I would have to consider, because I come from a family of business owners. My late dad was a business owner. My mom is a business owner. My husband is. My mother-in-law is. Like everyone around me, I have 2 brothers-in-law who are business owners. So it's just like so it's something that I would have to consider in the future. Maybe having an agency. Where I recruit, other administrative assistants, and like get clients and have like people to outsource tasks to. So it's something that I would maybe 10 years from now, if God tarries. So it's something that I would definitely consider when I gather all the experiences I need. Like as someone who's just starting out, I don't think it's something I can go into now, but it's definitely something I would consider one day. And being the fact that you already bought me a domain name, that's the biggest push. What? That's the biggest push. Like, what else? So, I mean, even if I wasn't considering it, 10 years from now, it's going to happen. I'm speaking it into existence today, the 13th of March. So, so yeah.
Indeed. As I was saying, because I was telling one of my professional friends, I said, I literally say every day, thank goodness, like at least once a day. I'm like, oh, thank goodness. And she was like, that needs to be the name of her business. And I was like, we jumped right on that.
Yes, well, that's amazing. Like, I wouldn't even have thought about that, like on my own. I wouldn't even have. I mean, that's the best. When I tell people that you are my mentor, because when I was, there's this social Saturday thing that we do on LinkedIn, and I just put out a post there, giving a shout out to my mentor, because even in the circle, I tell them that you are someone I look up to, because within the short period of time that we've worked together, I've learned, what I've learned is not something that I'm not sure I would have learned this much from someone else. You are so open, always willing to teach, and it's easier. I told you that the reason why I'm excelling, the way you say I am, because I don't think I'm doing enough, but the reason why I'm excelling is because you let me, it gives me the liberty to, like explore options and stuff like that. So that's the reason why, it's easy for me to flow. And it's something that I will always be grateful for. So thank you so much, Ms. Tiffany, once again. But who would feature their employee? and sometimes, this is just amazing. Everything's just.
Well, I gotta say, I'm really impressed. I've always been really impressed by your work and by your work ethic. So I know that we will continue to grow together in this little startup that we got going on. But I definitely wanted to talk to you and I wanted to hear the perspective of somebody who's a little younger, somebody who's, really good and a leader, but in a different part of the journey, right? I really like to get that in, because somebody is relating to you and you are also somebody's mentor.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's right.
Okay, well, I will wrap up our interview today, but I thank you so much, goodness, for coming on, for being my Women Crush Wednesday for this episode.